Hey, ladies and gents, it's Sisto is here with a look at the Cosmic Legions figure Altarr Cyllovius. Let's take a look at the box and the bio before we do the review. Here we go. Altarr Cyllovius. The internal packaging art and the external is done by Nate Barch. Not sure what's going on in there, but it's very exciting and cool. Here's the Outpost Zaxius. General bio that comes with the other figures. It looks really sharp with this trim here and these symbols on letters. And then on the back, it's got the cross sell of all the figures that have come out already. Let me see if there are any that we don't have in hand. No, it looks like they're all the ones that have actually come out with Cosmic Legions. And then on this side, we have the bio for this very mysterious and cool-looking character. So, Altarr Cyllovius. It says, the Greyborn's ability to access a transcendental state known as the Grey has granted them considerable power, as well as a measure of celebrity in Cosmerium. The Maze, meshed assemblage of zonal enlightenment, is recognized system-wide as a source of information, and those who wield that information helps shape the opinions of the populace. Yes, despite this power and influence, these are among the Greyborn. There are those among the Greyborn who believe that the maze is being used improperly, and they long to the return to the ways of old. Altarr Cyllovius is a Greyborn traditionalist, one of a growing number of this race who have begun to argue for a return to the days before the maze and their association with official government bodies. A belief that information should be shared freely and without dilution or added interpretation of the facts is what Altarr and the traditionalists have argued. It is a stance which has brought them to the attention of many in Cosmerium, including some who agree with what they preach and others who wish to see these sermons and those who speak them silenced. So, what I'm getting from this is that the maze is being used as a propaganda tool to manipulate the masses, and this Greyborn is opposed to that use and is looking to go back into a time when I guess that wasn't happening. And then he's a very dangerous individual because information is power, obviously, and controlling and manipulating the rings of Cosmerium is of utmost importance to the powers that be. So kind of a sort of noble or wise prophet sort of figure, and that's the vibe I'm getting from him. And let me tell you that I'm extremely blown away and impressed by this figure. And I didn't think I was going to like some aspects of him from the photos that I got. For one, I can see that he's a figure that has some spiritual or religious significance just by the way he's dressed with all his robes. But the color of this robe in particular sort of reminded me of the saffron robes, at least that the way it came across that monks wear in real life, like in Tibet, Buddhist monks. I think, Hare Krishnas have adopted that mode of dress, but it's a particular saffron colored, orange colored robe. And even looking at this in the video, the real color of this robe does not come across. It's different. It's different, and I like that because I don't want it that dead on where it's it can be an homage and it can sort of I guess be familiar in ways, but I didn't want it to be a spot on saffron monk robe. So I was like, I was kind of concerned about that, but it's a completely different color. I mean, it's a nod to that sort of color, and those robes, and we get that, but it's different, and that's what's cool because I like my aliens different. I like my worlds different, and I thought it would, if it was too spot on, and there was a nod to the real world. Yeah, that would be less appealing to me. But anyway, I'm loving the color of that robe. I'm loving how different it is, and it's an assemblage of three. It's got a cloak, a gray cloak. It's got that orange or off or burnt sienna. I don't know what color it is, but it's a very cool color. And then it's got the blue sort of vestments underneath. So really very cool silhouette on this guy. I really love the Greyborn. This guy has more of, if you look at him, it's more of a blue or maybe even a purplish blue tinge to his skin. And he's not flat gray by any means. He's not like the other Greyborn that we got in Cosmic already. This guy is, it's got many subtleties and shades to the paint on his skin. So like it's coming across as a little bluish, as a little purplish, at least to my eyes, you know, which aren't always the best. The other thing that I like is that the dorsal or the front part is lighter than the back part, ventral. So that's very much like nature. You know, there's just all these really subtle variations to the skin tones on his face. I hope you can see that. Obviously the lines. The other thing about him was that when I saw him in pictures, his head kind of reminded me a little bit of the Union Jack colors, just because you have reds and blues, or I thought, and then the white between them. But in real life, it doesn't look anything like that at all. It doesn't come across like that. This is one of those figures when you can see him in pictures and he looks a certain way in pictures, but then when you have him in hand, it's just so much cooler. The subtleties of it, just the way these red and purple colors blend into each other. It's really hard to describe, and it's really hard to see exactly how cool this figure actually is unless you have him in hand and you can look and you can see, you know, I'm guessing this is airbrushing, and then how the shades go together. It's just a beautiful, beautiful job. And then the glossy black eyes, which just honestly just stare deep into your soul, right? He's got that noble, wise visage of some kind of guru, right? Which goes with his bio and how he is as a character. He's got this really cool hood that lies really well. I can feel the wires in there and how you can pose them dynamically, but like there's a look at the hood over his head. I personally like it better down. Not because I don't like the hood. I do love that hood and the air of mystery that it adds to him, but I just can't bear to, you know, cover up any of that detail on the face, like the intricate little wrinkles on his brow is like furrowed in concentration and deep in thought. You know, I love the nostrils and how alien those are. The little mouth with no lips. Just that classic gray, but really punched up and colored up by this very imaginative and creative paint scheme. He has this staff, which is befitting of a shepherd. Well, you know, and that's the classic trope when it comes to a spiritual or religious leader. It's you know, a green staff. I'd love to know a little bit more about its significance and what it means to the character. But it's just, you know, and it adds to that sort of, it comes apart there. But it adds to that sort of, I don't know, regal gravitas, right? That he comes across with. And just, you know, the silhouette with the long flowing robes and the long, thin, appendages, these really cool alien feet that he has, right? I mean, those are beautiful. They, you know, we've seen these before, but like it's I don't know. He also moves very well. The joints just have the right amount of stiffness to them, but they're smooth when you try to move him. Just the complexity of the cloak and the robe and, you know, the skirt vestments underneath. It's a lot of, it's a step up. It's a step up with soft goods. Everything, look, the gauge on the wire is perfect, but everything about it, like these fully wired cloaks, I can't wait to see what like some really, really good professional photographers can do. Obviously, we've got Trevor's pictures, and those are spectacular, but you know, there's just going to be such a range of things that can be done with this figure. I'm taking off his cloak, popping his head back on. So he's just kind of chilling there. I don't know. And then I'll take off this part so you can sort of see, you know, some of the gains he's made since he started working out. And then of course you have the skirt, which there are some armored pieces down here in the legs, but I don't think I'm ever going to show that because that's going to be too undignified for someone of this individual's stature. Altarr, Cyllovius. He is, look at him, just that tilt to the head where he's contemplating the mysteries of the universe. Awesome. Then there's this sort of belt piece, a little armor there, very cool paint on that against the two tones with the ventral and the dorsal, and the airbrush hits right here on the toes too, so the toes are white and the rest of him is purple. I have always loved these sorts of aliens. It harkens back to my early days when I read a book called The Little Green Man and the Mushroom Planet, and it was an alien with a big head. Not a tall alien like this, but a smaller alien. And, you know, that's where my love for sci-fi started. And this really scratches that itch. It takes me back and makes me feel like a little kid, you know, fills me with wonder. Look at this. Look at these hands, again, with the two tones. So he's got other hands. He's got these right and left gesticulating hands with 4 fingers each, right? So that's 2. And then some grasping hands as well with the hinge, the horizontal, and then I guess the vertical hinge. Yeah, he has grasping hands with horizontal and vertical hinges. And then he has some shooting hands or trigger finger hands. But I can't really imagine using this guy and having him shoot anything or anyone or anybody. But you know, you can have your adventures and your headcanon, and he can do what you want him to do. So that's Altarr Cyllovius. I didn't mean for this review to be so long. He's got the 6 extra hands, and he's got the staff and the soft goods and just one head. But, I mean, there's a lot there to see and enjoy, and I hope you love this guy as much as I do because he is amazing. This is Wiz, signing out.